After a year-long wait, Derrick Rose returns. Will the Heat repeat as champions? And we're going to play a little What's the Word? Stay tuned because we're about to get in the zone. Good evening, Millersville, and welcome to In the Zone, campus's only local sports station. I'm Andrew Maris, joined today by Kris and Jean. Gentlemen, how are you?
Pretty good.
I'm doing good.
Well, guys, it is one of our favorite times of year again, and the NBA season is about to begin. Today's episode is an all-NBA preview. And, guys, let's start with Derrick Rose and the new-look Chicago Bulls. Do they jump right back in the conversation as being one of the best teams in the East, or is Derrick Rose going to have to work a little bit to get his team back up to where they used to be before he got hurt?
I believe that they didn't have Derrick Rose pretty much all of last year, and they pretty much still finished off fourth, I believe, in the Eastern Conference, and they were still relatively a good team. I think if anything, if you had to give an MVP last year to a coach, you had to give it to Tom Thibodeau, who's pretty much installed a culture of defense playing, with Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson, Luol Deng. I mean, even those guys weren't even healthy. I mean, the best player on the court, with Noel playing on 1 foot, Luol Deng dealing with sickness. Nate Robinson was their best player in the court, and they still beat the $200 million backcourt of Joe Johnson and Darren Williams in the Brooklyn Nets. I believe that that even with Derrick Rose still get better. I still think the one thing that hinders them the most, two things, is one, they still do not have a viable second scoring option, and number two, they can't stay healthy. The health has pretty much hindered the Bulls for probably the last 2 to 3 years. I still like what I see from Derrick Rose. He had 32 points, 9 assists in the preseason game the other night. He looks back to form.
But that's the preseason. Gene, is D-Rose going to be the D-Rose of old, and Chicago's going to be the second seed right there with the Heat? Or are the new-look Nets going to, challenge him more than they did last year?
I think the Bulls have proven themselves the last 3 years. Tom Thibodeau and his stifling defense. I mean, that's probably the most consistent defense we've seen in the league for the past couple of years. I mean, they're always contenders, even when they didn't have Derrick Rose. And Derrick Rose, he has shown good signs in the preseason, and he took a year off to make sure that his mentality is right. He made sure that his knee is okay. I mean, look at RG3 now in the NFL. He came back too quick, and now we're seeing the ill effects from that. But Derrick Rose took a season off to recuperate his knee, and he's doing good. I think he's gonna be back at top form. As long as they got Tom Thibodeau and Derrick Rose, I think that they're going to be a great defense and have a great chance of being the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference.
All right, guys, we're moving on to another story. The Jazz have inked youngster Derek Favors to a new 4-year, $49 million contract throughout the 2016-17 season.
Wow.
After being primarily a bench player thus far for Utah, is this a smart move for the Jazz, a team looking to move back into the playoff picture?
I don't know. I think the reason why I got this contract was pretty much based off potential. He's close to making pretty much $13 million a year. The thing about the Utah Jazz is that he got drafted by the Nets. He was pretty much arguably the second best big man coming out, obviously behind DeMarcus Cousins, but both of them were pretty much head cases, and they pretty much had that stigma. Then he got traded to the Nets, with that deal with Darren Williams. He's averaged 8 and 6 his entire career coming off the bench, and the reason why he really didn't have a lot of playing time is because he was also behind Paul Millsap and Al Jefferson, Millsap's with Atlanta now, and Jefferson's with the Bobcats. So him and pretty much Cantor are now pretty much going to be the guys there. I think they're basing his contract off potential. I still haven't seen anything, out of the ordinary yet for Derek Favors to reward him this contract.
I have to disagree. I think Derek Favors, it's similar to what Milwaukee did with Larry Sanders. Larry Sanders had a pretty good season, averaged 9 points, 9 rebounds, and he was a defensive stopper on the defensive end of the court. And Derek Favors, he has the same defensive ability as him. He's tall, he's 6'10", he has a 7'4" wingspan, 9'2" standing reach. On his NBA combine measurements, he was compared to Dwight Howard's measurements. Dwight Howard was a quarter inch taller than him. He had a half-inch longer wingspan, and he was 5 pounds lighter. So, I agree that they're basing it more off of potential, but you have to sign the contract for someone that has potential like that. He can be a force to reckon with.
He's averaging 8 and 6 in his career.
That's coming off the bench.
Years.
That's coming off the bench, though.
All right, so what do you think the stat line's going to be this year?
Whoa, guys. As much as I love to talk about Utah all day, we have to move on to our next story, and that is Jason Kidd. He's beginning his coaching career with the Brooklyn Nets. How do you think the new young coach will fare this year? What will his strengths be? What will his weaknesses be as a young new coach who just got finished playing last season, especially with all the acquisitions of the Celtic players?
I think you'll have a learning curve, with all new coaches. You've seen it with Mark Jackson. His first year with the Golden State Warriors, he had a 23-43 record in the lockout season, but he came back the second season. I don't think that Jason Kidd will have that bad of a season. I think they'll have a winning record. The strengths he has is that he was a coach on the floor for 21 years of his NBA career. It's going to come easy for him. And another strength is that he has Deron Williams as a point guard, and that's going to help Deron Williams become one of the top 3 point guards in the league and show that he can still play ball with the top point guards in the NBA.
Kris, do you think it's beneficial he has such a veteran roster? Guys he's played with and played against for years and years and years, that he's not having to coach young rookies up right away?
First off, Gene, you brought up Mark Jackson. The difference between Golden State and Brooklyn is the fact that Golden State is a young team with Steph Curry, Harrison Barnes, and Klay Thompson. You can afford a learning curve. You pretty much, with the acquisitions the Brooklyn Nets made, first of all, they had the $200 million backcourt with Deron Williams and Joe Johnson. Then you made this giant trade to get Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. You also still have an all-star in Brook Lopez. You bring all these pieces in. You're trying to win now. I don't think you really can. And the signing with Jason Kidd is like, why? You're trying to win now. Why didn't you at least try to invest in getting a Phil Jackson, who's pretty much one of the better coaches of managing egos? And I think it's obviously going to be a learning curve, but I don't think Jason Kidd's the right guy.
Well, Kris, we'll find out because only the future can tell. But stay tuned because coming next one in the zone, we're going to look at the NBA postseason preview. Stay tuned.
SafetyNet can catch all of your computer problems. Simply go to the SafetyNet page located on the Millersville University website to find information on getting rid of viruses and keeping your computer up to date. SafetyNet, the solution to your computer problems.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. Since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
All right, can you have a seat?
Yeah, no problem, man. Take your time.
All right, thanks.
So, that show today, went really well. The camera shots. I think
Mind if I sit here?
No, go for it.
I don't know what's happening. Start a new chat. What did I do? Okay, wow. That is so weird.
Hey! Hi!
Oh my gosh. Hi. God, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm so nervous. Gia, you're so big. Come closer to the camera. Wait, now you're in my face. That was so good.
For authentic Italian dining, go to Nino's Pizzeria. Nino's menu includes pizza, wings, stromboli, subs, and Italian dinners. Stop by from 10 to 2 on weekdays for the lunch special. Nino's Pizzeria, 11 Manor Ave, Millersville.
Welcome back to In the Zone. For our second segment, we're going to talk about some predictions for the upcoming NBA season. And Gene, I'm going to start off with you. Who are your Eastern Conference sleepers to make the playoffs? Tell me the Sixers are one of them. The Sixers are making the playoffs, 8th seed. Tell me why.
I wish the Sixers were one of them. I mean, they have at least another 3 years until they're even mentioned in the debate about Eastern Conference playoff contenders. But my team right now is Cleveland Cavaliers. I think Kyrie Irving has proven that when healthy, he can be one of the best point guards in the league. I mean, the competitiveness that he has is like comparable to Kobe. I mean, you see him trash talk.
You call Kyrie Irving Kobe?
No, I said
Kobe Irving?
His competitiveness is comparable to Kobe Bryant. You see him trash talking to him during the USA practice a few years ago. But I mean, he's a bona fide star. I mean, with Anthony Bennett, the first overall pick, hopefully he can step in as a small forward. I think Tristan Thompson is a solid power forward. And who knows, maybe Andrew Bynum might come back in the midseason. I mean, he's playing 3-on-3 drill right now. So I mean,
remember the Sixers had him?
If he does, I mean, I give him a great chance of going to the playoffs. Even if he doesn't, I still think Varejao can step in at center and still take him to the playoffs. 8th, 7th seed, you know.
Chris, Gene's in love with the Cavaliers. Who's your sleeper coming out of the Eastern Conference? You believe in the Sixers, right?
No, sorry, man. Listen, if Evan Turner's our leading scorer, then that means we're just right into the first overall pick. Listen, Gene, you talked about it. That's if Kyrie Irving's healthy. He hasn't been healthy ever since he got in the league. My sleeper, they're also in the same division. I'm gonna go with the Detroit Pistons. I like the combo between Greg Monroe and Andre Drummond. I also like the signing of Josh Smith. Also, it's a 3, even though he can't shoot, but he brings a good slasher and the defensive presence also in the wings. And also, I like the trade. With Brandon Jennings, he just needs to stop getting in fights and getting punched in the face. Also, I like the signing of also Chauncey Billups as well. I like what they're doing up there. They have a good core starting 5. Chauncey Billups, I think, is the glue that's going to keep them all together. And I really think that they can just make those lower seeds probably like a 5th or a 6th seed.
All right, guys, over to the ultra-competitive Western Conference now. We know about 6 teams who are going to be a definite lock. But as far as the 7th and 8th seed goes, who are some sleepers who might creep in there?
I'm going to have to go with the Portland Trail Blazers. I mean, I like, Damian Lillard, Rookie of the Year. I like with LaMarcus Aldridge, arguably the best power forward in the game. I still think he's
Wait, did you just call LaMarcus Aldridge the best power forward in the game?
I said arguably the best power forward. I still have to give the nod to Tim Duncan, even at his age. J.J. Hickson, Wesley Matthews, Nicholas Batum. They also got Nolan Smith. They also got some good signings also with Darrell Wright. The biggest problem with them is the fact that now they got a bench to pretty much compensate, because if the starting 5 didn't get anything, they were pretty much lose every game. I think they pretty much did a good job of rounding out their bench and to now give them support. I still look for them for like a 7th seed.
I have to disagree. I have to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean,
you want to talk about a team that if they stay healthy, they can never stay healthy.
First of all,
Ricky Rubio,
Kevin Love, they always get hurt.
Kevin Love broke his hand.
Kevin Love loves to be in the hospital.
No, Kevin Love has some crazy freak injuries. I mean,
he's not push-ups.
Push-ups, a freak injury. That's not going to happen again.
How's he going to shoot with a broken hand?
He doesn't have a broken hand.
He can't stay healthy.
Freak injuries are not going to happen. He's reliable. He doesn't have any knee injuries like Amari Stoudemire. He's going to be consistent. He had a few years where he had some freak injuries where he couldn't play. Rubio came back from the torn ACL. He's going to stay healthy. If he can work on his jump shot, they're going to be a contender because they have a deep bench now with Corey Brewer. Now they have Derek Williams coming off the bench. They're going to be a solid team, and I think they can make a play for the eighth seed in the Western Conference.
All right, guys. Who is your favorite to win the scoring title? I mean, we have LeBron, we have KD, maybe Steph Curry if he shoots a bunch of threes. You never know. Who's scoring the most points this year?
I'm saying Kevin Durant gets his 4th scoring title solely because of the fact that Russell Westbrook is going to be out pretty much for like the start of the season. So all the shots are pretty much going to go to Kevin Durant. I like Melo. I like what he does. I think Durant is a lot more of an efficient scorer. And I think with Melo in New York, I think he's going to have a lot more help as opposed to Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I have to agree with that one, mainly because Westbrook is injured. Kevin Durant, he is an efficient scorer. I think Melo, he might have a few injuries. You know how he is. He can never stay healthy for 82 games. But, yeah. I mean, for someone coming in a close second, I would hope to see James Harden coming in second or vie with Kevin Durant for the first
Even
spot.
with Dwight coming, you think Harden's still going to be the
it's going to help him. It's going to help him get to the lane more because other teams aren't going to be able to pressure him as much and help him as much with Dwight Howard in the paint. So all he has to do is lob up the ball for Dwight Howard. I mean, if it does take points from him, it's going to add in assists. So I did give Kevin Durant the first one, but I think James Harden will be up there too.
All right, guys, for our final topic for this segment, what are your bold predictions for the season? Will the Sixers make the playoffs? That's a pretty bold prediction, but I don't think either one of you are going to go that
Drew,
route.
you need to stop talking about the Sixers right now.
Dude,
Listen, hope and belief. We can rebuild together. That's our slogan.
Yeah, they're rebuilding. There's nothing to rebuild so far.
Well, here's my bold prediction. We're going to get the first overall pick and get Wiggins. Simple as that. What about for you guys?
I'd say Memphis is going to make it to the Western Conference Finals again. That's my bold prediction. I'm a fan.
You like Memphis over Houston?
Listen, I like what Memphis does.
Who's your other team? No, who's your other team?
Memphis and Spurs again.
Over the Thunder?
The Thunder is a two-man team. I'm also not sold on the Clippers. I really think they're just a train wreck waiting to happen. I like what Memphis does. I like half-court teams. I like Marc Gasol. I like Zach Randolph. I like the addition of adding Mike Miller because they desperately needed a shooter coming off the bench. Now they have him, Pondexter, and Jared Bayless coming up. I think Connolly needs to take that next step up. Tony Allen can pretty much lock up the best wing the best wing players in the West. I like them.
Kris, do they beat the Spurs?
It's going to be a 7-game series, but I still think the Spurs are going to come out the West again.
Gene, what's your bold prediction?
My bold prediction is that the Pacers will beat the Heat in the conference finals. Danny Granger is coming back. Hopefully by mid-season he'll be back to 100%. That adds another score for them.
So Gene,
Paul George doesn't have to do all the scoring to himself.
Gene, let me ask you something real quick. So you're telling me the Pacers are going to get past the Bulls. The Bulls that you just glorified earlier in the show.
I said Derrick Rose. I said they'll be a top 3 team. I didn't say that they were going to win.
So I'm asking you right now. If they're in the playoffs, Pacers are beating the Bulls.
Yes.
Yes.
The 7-game series.
Yes.
I believe so too.
Paul George, man. Paul George is going to be a bona fide starter.
The Pacers have multiple scoring options.
He's the best shooting guard in the Eastern
Conference. And now you're putting them over the Heat?
Yes, that's my bold prediction.
I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure about that. LeBron's not having that happen.
I could see it happening.
It almost happened last playoffs without Granger. I mean, Granger was a star before he got injured.
Yeah, but then the year before that, they almost lost to the Celtics.
Listen,
I mean, the Heat, they just play around until game 6 and 7.
That's before Paul George became a force to be reckoned with.
Listen, I'm just saying, I think the main thing that's going to hold the Pacers back is the point guard play. I am not in love with George Hill at all. I think if they get maybe if they do like a Rondo for Granger trade, I can possibly see that happening. I just don't like the point guard play.
Rondo's not leaving Boston. He's their whole franchise left.
Well, Rondo will have people to pass the ball to then.
Hey, very true, very true. So, guys, before we go to commercial break, one last thing I want to know from each of you. Who is your league MVP this year? Quickly. Does LeBron get the 4th in a row? Or is it somebody else?
I'm going to say Kevin Durant on this one.
I can't go against LeBron. It's his league right now. He's got no worries. I can't go against him.
So LeBron versus KD for the MVP. That's what it's shaping up to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for our second segment. Stay tuned, because coming up on In the Zone, we're going to play a little What's the Word and really see how colorful vocabulary our analysts have. Stay tuned.
Snapper, home on the latest local news, sports, and entertainment. There's something for everyone. Under completely new management, the Snapper is back on track, run entirely by our student staff. Interested in being a writer? Applications can be sent to thesnapper.com/apply. Join us in Hash 161 every Thursday at 9 p.m. and don't forget to pick up your copy of The Snapper every Thursday. The Snapper, Millersville University's student newspaper since 1925.
Well, that does it for this edition of News 99. Coming up next on MTV, our new hit show, The Vibe, followed by In the Zone with a sneak peek into Donovan McNabb's season.
He just said MTV, not MUTV.
Yeah. Oh, okay, well, I'm just getting warmed up.
All right, let's do it again from the top. In 5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
Well, that'll do it for this edition of News 99. Coming up next on MTVU, our new hit show, The Vibe, followed by
Oh my God.
What happened?
MTVU?
What happened?
Are you serious? MTVU.
Oh. We'll do it from the top again. I'm getting warmed up.
he said MTVU, not MUTV. And Bobby?
We're just gonna have Matt do this one, okay?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. All right, just. Are you good?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
All right, from the
Top, one more time. Matt, you're closing it. In 5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
That does it for this edition of News 99. Coming up next on MUTV, our new hit show, The Vibe, and In the Zone with a sneak peek of Donovan McNabb. Are you serious? All you have to do is sit there and look pretty as I talk. That's all. If you can't do your job, I'm fine with that. But seriously, just sit there. Quiet. No. That's all you have to do. Quiet as I talk. Can you do your job correctly?
We can do it.
Just sit there as I talk.
We got this.
All right? All right? Are we going to do this again?
All right, from the top again.
in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, that does it for this installment of News 99. Coming up next on MUTV, our new hit show, The Vibe, and then
Welcome to Bikram Yoga. A beginning yoga practice. All levels are welcome. New student special for only $20, 1 week unlimited. Bikram Yoga. Balance for your body, your mind, and your life.
All right, welcome back to What's the Word? Well, we're in the zone, but our segment's What's the Word? I'm going to be Logan Reale for today, and we got Kris and Jean still here. I'm going to take Andrew's spot, and we're going to get right into it. All right, so the first one we have for you today is Chauncey Billups will be blank for the Pistons. Kris?
Pistons, because I believe they're going to be a playoff team. I think they're going to be an Eastern Conference sleeper. I think more than anything, it's going to help mold Brandon Jennings into possibly a better guard, because Brandon Jennings, he's pretty much, even like a very short stature, takes a lot of bad shots. He rarely gets his team involved, especially in that playoff series last year against Miami. Even though pretty much it was an uphill battle, I believe he's possibly a good mentor, to pretty much help Brandon Jennings. I say if anything, this is going to help them, become a better team going forward.
I have to say Chauncey Billups will be a mentor for the Pistons. I think of Chauncey Billups in Detroit again as like that old guy in the gym that just always schools the players that he plays with but never plays. I mean, he's gonna have like a 6-man role, like an Andre Miller role. I mean, that's what I'm comparing it to right now. But he's gonna be beneficial. I think, like Kris said, Brandon Jennings, he's gonna help him a lot. Touch up on his decision making, and I think Chauncey is going to be a good addition for him. I don't think they're going to make it in the playoffs, though.
Fair enough. All right, staying with it. All right, Andre Iguodala can add blank to Golden State. What do you think, Gene?
Andre Iguodala can add, obviously, defense to Golden State. I mean, that team is a run-and-gun team, but, I mean, when they need somebody to shut somebody down, they didn't have it last year. But now Iguodala's here, and he can guard the likes of LeBron. I mean, no one can shut down LeBron, but I mean, if you can stay in front of his face and make his life difficult, that's going to help him. He's also going to add energy to an already energetic team. He's going to run the floor, slash, get dunks. It's going to be a really highlight-filled season for Golden State.
I say he adds a space for Golden State. I really think that the signing with Andre Iguodala for $12 million a year, based off what 13-5-5 last year. That's not $12 million worth of year money. I think if anything, it hinders also the growth of Harrison Barnes. Also, I said if anything, they should have let Harrison Barnes stay as a starter. Kept Jared Jack and just go from there. They had a good thing going forward. I still believe they added defensive identity with Andre Iguodala, but I believe he'll just hinder the growth of Harrison Barnes. It doesn't make them better.
With that, I also can see it adding pizzazz with Andre Iguodala being such a high-flying dunker. I'll say that would also be a good word for that. Were you going to say something, Gene?
Yeah, they want to win now. I mean, they have a great chance of winning now. Derek Lee is not getting any younger. Andrew Bogut is not getting any younger. Seth Curry and Klay Thompson are peaking right now. I mean, not peaking, but rising to the peak. So I think Harrison Barnes, you have to think about it. Andre Iguodala is going to play better than Harrison Barnes. I mean, it's going to help them get to the championship this year.
He's not the piece to get over the hump. That's just my opinion.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. All right, next. The Heat will be blank about the signing of Greg Oden after the season ends. What do you think, Gene?
The Heat are going to be blah about the signing of Greg Oden.
Good word.
I mean, I feel like it's just charity right now. I mean, they did the same thing with Eddie Curry. They tried to get his career back get his career back going. Greg Oden, hopefully he comes back. Hopefully he can have a successful year. Hopefully he's not injured again. But I mean, that's a lot of ifs. I mean, Greg Oden, he was a high school phenom, but he couldn't make it in the NBA. And I feel like, it's just a charity case right now.
I said the Heat will be pretty much the same. I don't think that Greg Oden is really going to pan out in Miami. I mean, it's not like they really need him. They still got the big three in Wade, Bosh, and LeBron. They still have, Chris Anderson, Birdman coming off the bench. They still have Udonis Haslem. They still have, the greatest three-point shooter in NBA history in Ray Allen. Like Gene said, it's pretty much charity case of work. If he comes out healthy, he brings up, a good inside presence and rebounding. But at this case, I don't see him coming back healthy, and he's kind of pretty much a sad case at this point. Have all the potential in the world, just injuries should slow him down.
It's true. Very true. I can see him adding a lot of rebounds to that team. All right. KG and Paul Pierce make Brooklyn blank.
They'll make them a fourth-place team. I still think they won't be better than Miami, obviously. I still think that they won't be better than Indiana. I still think even with the return Derrick Rose, if he comes back to form, like I've seen him, Derrick Rose has the still same explosiveness as he did, prior to ACL. I still think they're nothing more than a fourth-place team. I still think the combination of Coach Kidd along with that veteran group isn't going to mesh well, and I still think that they're pretty much still a disaster waiting to happen.
KG and Paul Pierce make Brooklyn the best team in New York. I mean, they add defense to it. They add veteranship. I mean, the New York Knicks aren't contending right now. They don't play any defense. I think KG will definitely help Brooklyn along the way. I mean, we have to see how they can work together as a team, but who knows? I think they're going to be fourth place in the season, but who knows what they do in the playoffs.
All right, very good, very good. Next one. We got Melo becoming a free agent at the season end will blank the Knicks this year. What do you think, Gene?
Melo becoming a free agent will destroy the Knicks. I mean, I think if Melo leaves, then the Knicks should just go back to rebuilding. I mean, Melo is like the only light spot of that team so far. Other than Iman Shumpert, he has some potential, but I mean, if Melo leaves, they need to start rebuilding. There's no sense of just like making the paychecks higher and higher for New York. I mean, they need to rebuild and just hope for the future. Because if Melo and Amari doesn't get it together this season, then I mean, it's going to be over for New York fans.
I say it hinders the Knicks just because of the fact that if Melo does leave, that's pretty much it for New York. I mean, they had a good thing going, with pretty much Amari being the centerpiece and pretty much running the run and gun style with, pretty much Carmelo. I still am not high on Carmelo. I still think he's a top 10 player, but he's also a ball stopper. I think if you lose him, that's pretty much it. You don't have any other, good pieces pretty much to build on. Amari's breaking down. Tyson Chandler's getting older. They're a very old team. So if you pretty much lose Melo, it's pretty much back to the drawing board.
All right, and then our last question here. The turnaround team of the year will be who? Chris.
I believe it's going to be the Wizards. I believe that I think they'll get the 8th and final seed. I think John Wall will be healthy.
All right. And what about you, Gene, real quick?
The Wizards was my answer, but I think Charlotte Bobcats is going to turn it around a little bit. I mean, not that much, but a little bit. I think the Bobcats are going to improve this season more than last season, but the Wizards was my choice, and I think John Wall will be good.
All right, thank you for watching In the Zone. I was Logan, that's Chris, that's Gene. All right, have a good one, guys.